time to do really good stuff, because now in my lifetime, 56 years, yes, I know I look 27, but I'm 56. I'm kidding, I look 80. But now's the time, because everyone is listening and everything matters. And so what I try and do, I don't censor myself, I just try to think better thoughts. And that puts me in an almost Lincoln-esque point of view, in that he was a lawyer and a politician, so he was a bastard two ways. However, he understood the power of words. If you ever have a chance, you can go on the internet. You can go on the internet right now if I'm boring. You can just look at your phone and read one of Lincoln's many, many great speeches, where one of his sentences are better than 90 pages of anything you will ever write in your life. And he understood the power of words, and he understood the power of decency, and not to get political or breastbeating or stentorian, but he understood the true spirit of America, that is decent people trying to find a way forward. And if we're not the ones doing that, then we are truly screwed. But I know we're not screwed, because you are here and I am here. And some of you are going to breed if you haven't bred already. And I bet that you're not going to hatch out a homophobe. I bet from your loins or from wherever, there will be no misogynists coming from your household. My father was the perfect combination, a PhD, a racist, a homophobe, and a misogynist. That's incredible. And the fruit fell so far from the tree, he can't even find me. And so, things can get better. And so here's an example of that, and unfortunately, this is a cover story. This is my version of Louie Louie. I didn't write it, but I want to play it. This was told to me by your pal Shepard Fairey a few months ago. So I was over at Shepard's place, his studio. We hang out now and then. So I was visiting Shepard, and he's always looking like he hasn't slept in 9 years. Like, hey, how are you doing? His eyes are always bloodshot. Why? I've been spray painting my face. I mean, he's always doing something. The guy works like he's a crazy man. And so I said, how are you doing? He's like, I have to tell you this story. He's so tired. He works all the time. And so he said, President Obama really enjoyed his hope drawing and invited him to come visit the Oval Office. And so he takes his amazing wife, Amanda, and his two incredibly gorgeous daughters, and they hang out the day after the election with the President, Barack Obama. And Shepard's jaw is on the ground. He's like, I'm in the Oval Office. This guy is now the incoming president. And Shepard is really depressed. He said, Mr. President, aren't you depressed? And he said, the president was upbeat. He's like, nope, we're going to be fine. He said, how can you say that? He said, I've been president for 8 years, and here's one thing I learned. You're going to get where you want to go. American democracy has like 80,000 doors. You just got to find a different way to go in. All the stuff I did, it's going to get finished. We just have to keep finding different ways to access it, because the ideas are good. And he said, like, we're going to be fine. And he said, like, do you see who became president? He said, yeah, that's democracy. Deal with it. It's a heavy lift. And so the president wasn't exactly jumping for joy. He said, look, this is how it is. It doesn't mean everything comes to an end. It just means you find a different way to get down the road. There's a bunch of doors. There's like different ways. You don't just go, that one doesn't open anymore, and go home. You go like door number 5, 10, 15, 25, 30,000. And so he said to the president, how can you be so upbeat? And he points at Shepard's daughters. And he said, them. He said, what do you mean? He said, they're going to vote one day. And that's how we're going. And so the future is as bright as you and I determine it to be. And so whenever you see something really awful, and there will be awful things in this country because a lot of people can't handle the concept of freedom. It's a heavy lift. And so you have people acting out. But for the most part, and that's why you see so many conservative types, they're so angry because they understand. All your Jeff Sessions, they're crying at night because they realize the racist, homophobic, misogynist America is going away. Now these people are being outed, and now they're getting taken to court, and now women are becoming brave enough to stand up, and thankfully, we're changing the conversation we are having, and people can passively and not even know victim blame. And I'm always one looking for a lesson, always looking for an upgrade. And many, many years ago, I said on stage that I met a woman, and she said, well, the third time my boyfriend hit me, I said, Stop right there. There was a second and third time, and she went, yeah. And I said that on stage, because it was incredible to me that someone would stick around for a beating. And an amazing woman said, Henry, I know you mean well, but you are so wrong on this. I'm going to give you some wisdom. Sit down and shut up. And I was smart. I sit it down and I shut it up. And she said, I know you don't mean to, but you're victim blaming. Maybe she can't leave. Maybe there's kids there. Maybe he's got the credit card. Maybe there's not enough money for her to go to a hotel room. Maybe there's not daycare for the kid if she leaves the house. There's all kinds of reasons people stay around and get abused. You need to see this stuff differently so you can hear what these people are saying differently and become part of a solution. You want to become part of a solution, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I'm all over it. She said, do some research and change the way you're thinking about this situation. And I did. That was years ago. And I realized how much I didn't know and how much there is to know. And I was wrong, but not trying to be wrong or trying to say, shut up, little lady. I just realized I can always get an upgrade. So I'm always looking for the upgrade. And so remember about 20 minutes ago, I said, 2 interesting things happened on the road last year. One was the show that I did in real time as America was having an election. Never do that again. And here's the other thing that happened. Way more lighter fare. I was somewhere in the Midwest a few weeks later, somewhere in November of last year. I'm in some theater, Nebraska maybe. I'm in some theater, there's the aisles, there's the dim lights by the lobby. And I'm looking at the audience, and it seems like my words are like smacking them in the face. They're like, what am I doing? And there's like these ripples of people like, and I'm like, I don't know, was it the power and intensity of my words, my witty repartee, or the fact that I'm so humble about it? What is it? What is it? And finally, it was so distracting that I just stopped. I said, what is it? And like one guy, like the guy who addressed the sound problem, one guy, he raised his hand. I said, yes. He said, there's a bat in here. And right when he said it, this bat goes, and so of course, you know me by now. I go into this long-winded thing about bats and their range of hearing and how outside they don't deal with this level of audio compression or this level of dB unless they're near some dynamite or a car crash. And when everyone's laughing at the fact that the bat is running around inside the place is driving the bat's little brain wild. We should all shush so the bat can get some time out. And they're like, what? Like, why are you talking to us about bats? And finally, the poor little bat, he flies over to the curtains on my left, and he grabs some curly, and he just hangs in there. And we're all looking at the bat. I talked about this bat long enough to where the doors at the back, my left, your right, open. And there's a man framed by the lights of the lobby like this. And I said, let me guess, you're the bat catcher. And he kind of like nodded, like, yeah. I said, so what are you going to do? It's right up there. Do you have your bat catching equipment? He kind of went, oh, I don't know. They just called me and said, huh. I said, well, we're waiting. And he kind of went, oh, see ya. And he left. And I forget what happened to the bat because we just went on. And so don't do a show during an election when we now have social media. And be careful for bats at sound check. Got it. Here's something else. And this is as funny as I can be. And if I was 20, I would say this, and it would be a Nietzschean, Darwinian man on the Serengeti of romance statement. But at 56 years of age, it is the highest mark of comedy. And here's the line. I am heterosexual. And why is that funny at 56 years of age? Because people laugh when I say it. Like, because when you're my age, AARP, and you say, I'm heterosexual, most of the world goes, oh, isn't he cute? He still thinks someone cares. Oh, I am still in the game. And then I want a juice box and a lie down, right? And so the reason I need to tell you that is because I had a boyfriend for about 7 minutes. And it's not that 7 minutes, it's something else. And so here's the story. It's a story basically about perception. Many years ago, in 1995 or 6, I think it was, I was living in New York with my bandmates. See, I told you they drift away. And so I walked to band practice, and I get there at about 11:50 for a 12 noon band practice because I put the punk in punctual. And so I get to band practice. I've never said that before. Amazing. And so I get to band practice, and I'm just standing in the lounge area, waiting for my bandmates. And there's a tall, handsome, light-skinned African-American man, no hair, perfectly dressed, looks like a male model. And I nod at him, and he nods back, and I go back to waiting. And he stands up, and he walks over to me, and he looks down, and I look up, because everyone's taller than I am. And he said, "You're Henry Rollins." I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "I'm a big fan of yours." I said, "Oh, well, thank you, sir." And I shook his hand. He said, "I'm RuPaul." I went, "Oh! Oh! Oh, I'm such a fan of yours. Do you remember 1985, Atlanta, Georgia, the fanzine, Neighborhood Thread? We both shared the front page. You were on the top, and you have like all this paint on. You're holding a torch, and it says, RuPaul, sex freak. And underneath you is a photo of me looking like I just got dosed on Thorazine. And it says, Henry Rollins, hex creep. He goes like, "I remember that." I said, "I have 3 copies of that in an acid-free, environmentally pristine museum archive environment." That's how I am, a train spotter of punk rock Arcania. And so I said, "You know what, man, I gotta say, I like the cut of your jib, RuPaul. I've always liked the way you carry yourself." And I think, not to put too long a tail on the RuPaul kite, but I think RuPaul has saved lives, because I think there's people all over the world who are made to feel bad for who they are. And they want to be themselves, and their parents go like, "Get out of my house." And the people at school go, "You do that again, I'll kill you." And their teachers say, "You're bad." And their church says, "You're bad." And these people hurt themselves. They kill themselves, and they have bad lives because people say, you can't be yourself. RuPaul is like 6 foot something, gorgeous human being, puts on his fighting gear, as I call it, and he gets out there, boom, drag, like, bite me if you don't like it. And I think he is so culturally strong. And when you see him, he's just so tall and fantastic. I think other people look at him and go, "You know what? I can be too." And I think when the real history book on this country gets written, there is no way he doesn't get a chapter. And that might be slightly overreaching, but I really think I'm right about that. And so, suffice to say, I'm a fan. And so my bandmates come in. On P.S., he's a really cool guy, smart, funny, he's amazing. My bandmates come in, I go, "Fellas, that's RuPaul." And they're like, "Oh, wow, big fan." And so we become friends with RuPaul. And so RuPaul and I keep in touch. I'm nuts. And so I don't reach out to people all that much. And every once in a while, RuPaul will email me, "Hey, Henry, it's RuPaul, thinking of you, hope you're having a good day." Are you okay? I just don't, and I don't know how to answer an email like that. It's so benign. There's no money attached. There's no agent. There's no lawyer. There's no hook. There's no promoter. It's just benevolence. I'm like, And I all day I stare at the screen. How to answer. I hope you're doing well yourself. Nah, too straight, too weird. Hey, I've been thinking of you. I haven't really. I've been busy with my head up my ass. Well, I hope you're doing really great. I hope to see you before it's all over. Something cryptic. Like, before we're dead, I hope our paths cross again. Send. Like, he must just put up with me. Like, the email comes back and like, "Oh, he's still a tadpole." Well, I'm going to keep writing those letters, and one day the legs will come out, the gills will disappear, and he'll become a human being, yay! So he never gives up on me. And so a while ago, he asked me to be on RuPaul's Drag Race, which was fascinating. As a judge, I am there to judge people's performance. My fellow hosts are having a fun time, laughing and high-fiving. I'm sweating with my steno notepad, taking notes. The pirouette was very circular in nature. I mean, if I am going to cast someone off Drag Race Island, I want to be very sure that I'm kicking off the right person. Meanwhile, the men, dressed as women, doing their thing, see that I'm the only one giving them my total attention, so they start performing to me. And so there are these men, like, and they're really going for it. And with the 4 drops of blood that remain in my reptilian body, the blood starts moving. And I'm like, "Oh, no. And I have to radio down. That's not the bolt of cloth that I'm cut from. false flag, stand down. And the blood goes like, roger that. But like 3 minutes later, like stealth blood. Because they're hot. What can I do? And I realized that I'm not all that evolved. Apparently, if there's something undulating in front of me with a short skirt, I'm in! And at lunchtime, I tell RuPaul, I said, I'm a heterosexual guy who's every 3 or 4 minutes falling for these hot humans coming on with it. And he looked at me, he said, you've got a dilemma. Suffice to say that I had a lot to think about that evening. I went home like, oh no, what is it? I need to rethink it all. So anyway, a while ago, RuPaul invents yet another show. And it's this show where he puts 2 GoPro cameras in this ancient Fiat, one on the driver, one on the passenger, and he drives you around LA doing errands while he interviews you. So he calls me, hey, I got this new show. I put you in a car and we drive around and we do your errands. You want to be in it? Yes. When? Tomorrow, 10:30, RuPaul comes to my place and picks me up, and we're driving around with a microphone on both of us. And so he looks at me as I'm pulling out this piece of paper. And he said, what's that? I said, it's my list of errands. He said, you made a list? I meant errands, like we're just going to drive around. I went, oh, no. We're doing errands. In fact, I did a dry run of the errand run at 03:30 hours. It's beautiful in its design. It's a bunch of right turns into parking lots. It's fantastic. You're going to love it. There's like no waiting at red lights. It's this right turn city. And he said, damn, you are so serious. I said, what do you mean, man? Anyway, this is where things got interesting. We're going into places that I frequent. I'm a creature of habit. Tuesday, 6:37 p.m., Trader Joe's to get the same 5 things. Lettuce, soup, boom. Like they'll break in new employees who'll be like, okay, watch. In 40 seconds, Henry Rollins is going to come in. He's shorter in person, super gray now. That whole Morrison thing he had, honey, that's like 20 years ago. 3, 2, don't fail me. Look at him, there he goes. And I have my head down, and the only thing that pisses me off at Trader Joe's is food gazers. People who stand looking at bread. And I make a point of kind of gently checking them out of the way. Like, boom. I'm making a choice. Boom. Gone. So like this pinball, of a decision, I get to the cash out, and I already have the exact change, $14.31. Like, the guy's like, it's like $14.31. The guy goes, God, you're so intense. I'll see you next Wednesday. And so I go into all these places kind of like that. I walk into this restaurant I go into like, it's the fruit bowl, 1 cup of coffee. You don't like our coffee, so you won't ask me to refill it. There it is. Every Monday. And so we are going into some of these places. They usually see me alone. They must wonder, what does he get up to on the weekends? The first time a lot of these places see me with someone else is the time I walk in with a 6'3" black guy. And I walk in and you see everyone in these places, they know who I am because I'm a regular, and you see them immediately lose control of their choice of words and their body language. They start making things up. And you see them like, oh, I knew it. Short hair and shape, knew it. But now they have to cover them like, and they come on, and they're nice people anyway, but they have to show you like super PC, and they don't know what to say. Hey, Henry, who's your friend? That's RuPaul. Right on. Right, and then they go into like, people need to be who they are, man, because life is short, and I'm so glad that you found someone to be with? Yeah. And it wasn't, and it happened every time. And it's all you can do not to just explode in laughter, because they're working so hard to say, I'm cool that you're gay and you have a boyfriend who's much taller than you. And so this happened over and over again, and it was great. You know, they're just trying to be with it. And so finally it's over, and RuPaul said, you've been a very good guest. Can I buy you lunch? And I love free food, so I'll take free lunch off a corpse. I'm so happy about free lunch. So I said, oh yes, I want free lunch. He said, there's a great Japanese place in West LA. Let's go. I said, you're the driver. And so we go to West LA, which is also known as gay LA, and it's not the pejorative. It is proudly gay LA. The rainbow flags fly, the manicured lawn that bisects eastbound and westbound traffic on Santa Monica Boulevard is very, very nice. It's fantastic. And everyone looks fantastic. 80-year-old men in a pair of gym shorts and sneakers with better abs than Tarzan ever had. Like, how do you look like that? I do 90,000 ab crunches every morning. Wow! Because life is short, you know, do a bunch of ab crunches. So people, gleaming teeth, yoga bodies, they're just all together fantastic. And so RuPaul and I park in this massive parking garage, and we emerge onto the north side of Santa Monica Boulevard, about to cross the street illegally, and the sidewalks are packed with people who all recognize us both individually. And you see the look of joy that we unleashed on all those people that day, who are like, oh my God, yes, yes, you owe me $40. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. And so immediately the cell phones come out. I said, RuPaul, don't look now, but I think we're an item. And I look to my left, and all these people are like, I'm like, because finally I have someone. And so we cross the street, we eat the food, he drops me off at my place, and it was a great day. Within a few hours, I start getting email from terrified indie boys all over America. And I am not a mean person, but when someone puts their jaw out so far that you can't walk around it and you have to bump into it, I have to mess with them. I have to, if there's a comedic undercurrent and it's not mean, just kind of caustic, I gotta go there now and then. And the emails are all kind of the same. Dear Henry, young indie guy in Minneapolis, pacing grooves in my carpet back and forth, when I just got the news that you are dating RuPaul. I've been listening to your records all afternoon, trying to make the decision, do I wade through the snow back to the used record store and turn them all in? And I'm not homophobic, I'm having a hard time digesting this. Dude, hit me back. I really need to hear from you. I'm kinda sorta losing it right now, and I need you to tell me what's up. I let this young person twist in the wind for a good 3 or 4 hours. Let him stew in it. Hopefully, he'll play my entire wretched recorded catalog, searching for the gay inferences that obviously are in there. Damaged, okay, I'm damaged gay. All right, okay, got it. 1 and 2, because everything gay has to have an encore, right? Okay. My war, oh, my gay war, right? No one likes me because I'm gay. I'm all mad about it, okay. Oh no. Slip it in. Oh. I should have known. And so that's what I want. And so after several hours, I write this young person back. Dear young man in the Midwest, thank you so much for your curiosity. As far as RuPaul and I, well, right now, we're just kind of checking it out. We're not like dating, but we're just kind of, it's like the first round in a boxing match where you're just kind of measuring the other person. The weekend's coming, and I think by Monday, we'll know a whole lot more. And then I listened to hear if I could hear that kid's head explode 2,000 miles away. And so, 20 minutes later, the next email kind of sort of like that comes in, like, Henry, dude, tell me it's not true. And he was intense. Like, if you're gay, this is a deal breaker. It's like, tell me this isn't true. People lie about you all the time, dude. This can't be true. No. So I let this guy stew for a few hours, and I write back, Dear angry young man in the Midwest, fisting. It's not the way I want to be woken up or surprised, like, hello. But if you're ready for it and you fully prepared, it's a different way to go about Saturday night. And to this day, I saw a photo of you and RuPaul. Is it? I'm like, And I love the idea of letting these people just have to chew on it and look at me. Does he have a gay thing with his hair? Is that t-shirt gay? What is it? And hopefully it'll stir them up enough so they can go, who cares? Got some life to live. It doesn't matter. Gotta go. And so RuPaul and I, our 20-some-year friendship continues to go mightily down the road. And every once in a while, I think about RuPaul, my distant boyfriend. And so here's something else. A bit of a weighty concept, but I'll be really brief. Here's what I'm convinced of, and I think you've seen it in your own life. I think that trauma, what happens to you, you pass it down to where it's almost in your DNA. And it's been said about people in Russia. They've been through so much, like trauma and sadness is almost in the Russian DNA. And they pass it on to the kids, and the kids pass it on. I am not a spiritual person, and I don't think that you can pass on trauma through procreation. Yeah. Well, I'm completely open to that, ma'am, because of what I have seen out in the world. In that I'm weird. I live alone, I do weird stuff. A few years ago, I said to myself, I must go to Central Asia. I had promised myself all the stands that I'd not yet been to. So I spent a month backpacking through Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. And I was in Uzbekistan a couple of Novembers ago. And it's wedding season. And there's all these people outside in their wedding outfit. The bride is in her bridal gown. It's freezing cold. So she's like kind of naked and freezing. And they go to religious sites in the morning before the ceremony to kind of say, hey, sanctified, right? It's wishing the marriage good luck. And so I'm sitting with a tour guide, a guy named Ali. He had Porsche sunglasses. I'll never forget that. And so we're at some UNESCO rebuild of a holy site. And I'm sitting there, and there's like 20 wedding parties. You see, because you see the white bridal gown, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I start to notice the body language. I said, Ali, look at that couple. They're grabbing each other. They're all happy. They're about to be married. They're kooky crazy about each other. But look at that couple, and like most of them, first off, they look like they're in 10th grade. And second off, they look terrified. Like they've never so much as groped one another. Like they're standing for photos like this. Like terrified. Like me on my prom night. Like, I don't want to be here. Anyway, and so I said, what is that? Because I'm right about something. There's something going on. He said, all of those stiff kids, those are arranged weddings, which I had heard of. But I said, roll that out. He said, families get together. They've been doing it for years. You marry a relation. You marry the other rich family's person, so your son-in-law gets a job in your factory and everyone, the money stays congealed. And I said, but what about these young people? Have they congressed? He said, probably not. I said, when do they meet and get to find out if they like each other or love each other? He said, at other weddings and holy holidays. I said, that sucks. What happens? And he said, what happens? Divorce, suicide, alcoholism, and misery. I said, why would you want to give that to a young person? Alcoholism, suicide, misery, unhappiness, divorce. And he looked at me smiling and said, tradition, because he thought it was BS too. And so there's a danger when we, humans, cannot evolve and move forward. And in this country, we've got some really awful traditions, like racism, like homophobia, and all of that. You don't like it, I don't like it. You're good looking, I'm good looking, we're getting along. How come more people in America aren't like this? What's the problem? Tradition. Why do you need 20 guns? Yes. Tradition. This is my father's gun. Ew! I don't want my father's anything. And so this is why one of our jobs is to remain pliant, open-minded, and realize that the future is fluid. It is only what we make it. So, here's something else. Last year, P.S., because trauma is absolutely in the DNA. I can't prove it, but I know I'm right. And it doesn't take much to screw up another person. One insult, one slap, and they stay slapped for the rest of your lives. And all of you have one of those schoolyard experiences. 20 years later, you remember the exact words that were said, how much it hurt, and now that you're big and wise and adult, why would you want to do that to anyone else, knowing the damage you cause? It's to be conscientious and go forward. It's a pain in the ass, because you have to start respecting everyone just because they're alive. It's a heavy lift. Here's something else. Last year, I was in Germany for some shows, and it was January, something like that. And I think it was in Berlin. And I walked outside after the show to, like, Minneapolis cold, like unbelievably awful cold. I'm like, my body's rebelling. I'm walking towards my Bon Jovi mobile, and I see 4 German audience members frozen in front of the door. And I said, they're dead. They've succumbed to hypothermia. So I go up and I almost like knock on their frozen skulls to see if they're okay. So I said, are we alive? And they slowly turn like mannequins with motors. Hello, Henry. Thank you very much for the show. I very much enjoyed it. Please to take the piece of paper from my frozen hand to make the autogram, to make the sign, so I don't die of hypothermia. So I do photos with everyone and I sign everything, and they go, stiffly walking into the smoky, freezing darkness. And I'm about to get on the bus and microwave my dinner. And to my left, I see a mere slip of a girl, teenage girl, weighs nothing. She's like a matchstick with a winter coat, standing stiffly. I realize she wants to talk to me with no one else around. She's shy. I totally understand it. I'm the same way. So I run over to her, and I try and use some of my patented humor, which rarely works. And I run over, and I said, are you ready for surf season? And I seem to have snapped her out of her cold-induced coma. And she starts yelling at me. Hello, I'm very nervous to talk to you. I took 5 trains over 8 hours from a different country to be here. I have many things I need you to do, and you're going to start doing them now. I became her fan right then. And I'll never forget, I kind of stood up straight. I was like, okay, so what are we doing? And she opens up her backpack, and she unfurls this poster, a big rectangle, you're going to hold this, and I'm going to take a photo of you holding it. She throws it, and I'm like, I said, well, before the photo session, I'd like to know what's written on the poster so I can make sure I agree with the sentiments imparted on it. It says, ha ha ha, I'm with Henry and you're not. I said, I like where this is going. What is this? It's for my best friend who wouldn't get on 5 trains over 8 hours from a different country. I said, we're doing this photo. And so I got to think about, I'm jazzing it up. She takes it from me. I don't even get to keep it. And then and now you're going to sign this, and now you're going to sign this. And I'm signing everything. She said, and now I'm going to tell you something that's very difficult for me to say, so I need you to be quiet. And she told me, she's a teenage girl, and she told me that she had been raped by a guy she went to school with, who she saw smiling at her every day in class. She told her teachers, they didn't believe her. She told her best friend, he didn't believe her. Told her brother, her mother, and her father. No one believed her. Every day, the guy's in the class with her. She starts cutting herself. She tries to kill herself. She can't keep food down. And she said, and she told me this whole story. She said, I tried to kill myself. I can't keep food down. I'm on all this medication. I like boys. I want to meet a boy, but whenever I meet a boy, I remember what happened to me and I freak out. So I'm the girl in school who cries all the time. And I want to have friends because I like punk rock music and I want people to play punk rock music with. But I'm the weird girl who cries all the time and no one wants to hang out with me. So I took 5 trains, 8 hours, different country, to ask you, what should I do? I said, well, I'm not a doctor. And so I hope if you're seeing someone, keep seeing them. Rule 1, do not self-harm. You're cutting yourself. Stop it. I know it feels like the right thing to do. I get it. Resist it. I go, all I can give you is my time. All I can tell you is what happened to you can be flipped and turned into a lightsaber. You can be the strongest person in any room you walk into. When there's someone on the edge, you can bring them back because you have been there and you have survived. You can save lives. This doesn't have to be awful. You can move on. You will never forget what happens. We humans don't forget a damn thing, ever. So you'll never forgive and you'll never forget. But you can put it in your pack, get strong, and carry it. I go, here's what I can do for you. The next time you want to hurt yourself, and I wrote down my email address. I go, write me a letter. You want to get mad at someone? Get mad at me. Just write me about how much everything sucks. I'll always write you back. And if you want, I'll send you punk rock music I steal from bands, put in envelopes, and I said, so you and I can be friends. I can't see you all the time because I live miles away. But the next time you want to hurt yourself, don't do it. Just write me. And this extraordinarily strong young girl, we have been keeping in touch since January of 2016. And she is incredible. And understandably, she had good days and bad days. She goes like, I got up the road, then I got knocked back. I go, hang in there. This isn't overnight. You got to keep wanting to be in the game. And so we keep in touch. And why did I do that? Because this is my kind of rebellion. This is how we get forward. You extend yourself to someone else, you do the best you can, and you give someone else some strength. Like here at this festival, we're like a bunch of people rubbing on each other, making some friction, creating some energy. We are culturalizing and socializing each other by just our sheer proximity. And that's why I hang out on the internet with this amazing girl. And she writes me letters that are not happy all the time. I send her some music, we talk, she yells at me, I'm like, boom, I got it. And she's still with us. And that's a good thing. So, it's just because like I said, in this time that we're living in, everything you say matters. Everything you do matters. Because your government, at its best, it's not all that, it doesn't work all that well. At its worst, it's predatory, divisive, and hostile. So what does that leave you? You've been abandoned. But thankfully, you have you, and you have me, and you have everyone else. That's the way to go. So, I vote, but I have no expectations for any of those elected officials. My expectations are with me and you. And so, one last teeny tiny thing about being humbled, which happened. Thankfully, I get the lesson. About 20 years ago, I'm at band practice, the same practice place I met RuPaul. I'm in the practice room. My bandmates think we're Mahavishnu Orchestra. I wish they thought we were the Stooges so we could get somewhere. Anyway, there are like 80 million chords. I'm like, I can't sing to this. There's no beat. I'm like, frustrating. And so the guy from the front lounge comes in. Henry, phone call for you. I run out to the lounge. It's my manager. Henry, Sharon Osbourne has just called and offered you 2 shows opening for Ozzy, a voice in my life since I was about 11. Woo! I said yes so fast I sprained my face. I run back to my bandmates knowing they're not going to dig this. I said, we are opening 2 shows for Ozzy Osbourne in Florida. And they're like, double. And I hate to pull rank because our band was a democracy. I'm like, you little bastards, put smiles on your faces and get ready to rock with Ozzy Osbourne. And so the big day comes, we clamber aboard the economy section of some flight, and we fly down to Florida to some mega dome, 20,000 seater. We are put in a golf cart, like miles below the Earth's surface, to a utilitarian locker room, skinny benches, those odd showers that hold like 90 people, and you walk in, they're like, no way, no way. The water comes out, those pins like, ow, 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 and I'm naked with a bunch of people. Could be good, but I'm uptight. Anyway, our amenities, I'll never forget it, an apple, a can of Coke, a coffee mug. That's it. I'm thinking, who wants to fight over the apple? And I'm wondering, am I going to meet Ozzy Osbourne? Because I'm a fan. Right when I thought that, the door explodes open. Ozzy Osbourne, this human tornado, comes running in. Hey man, which one of you is Henry Rollins? I said, I am. Hey man, my name is Ozzy Osbourne, man. So glad you're on the tour, man. And with our PA, play it as loud as you want, man. Blow it up. Have a great time. Wah! And he runs out. Total time, 11 seconds. I'm still looking at my hand going, whoa. He's gone. So the bill that day, for some reason, is typo negative opening, which we should have opened for them. Anyway, they open, then us, then Ozzy. So we go up for sound check in the golf cart. We are the opening band. Sound check is about as long as the one you saw me do 2 hours ago. Hello, get off. So we go, ding, 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 thank you, good night. And so we leave. My bandmates are not all that happy because they realize about 20,000 Floridians who will, it is their genetic imperative to hate us. And I said, fellas, I know you're anticipating this gig. If you see a red laser dot on your chest, that's a sniper. Keep playing, but run in a zigzag evasive pattern. And so typo negative goes on stage. Great people, great band. And Pete Steele, the singer who sadly passed away, he was hilarious. He's a really smart guy. And he said, we're typo negative. Sorry about the accent. Because he talks like Sylvester Stallone. And people going, yo, Adrian! It was great. So they play and the audience loves them. I go, okay, fellas, here we go. And we go out on stage and I hear, I'm like, whoa, that's a Wembley roar. We've got him. So I said, where are the Rollins? I'm like, yeah. So we play the first song. No one-toothed man comes over the barricade with an axe. to kill us. No laser dot, just... I start doing things on stage I have never done before. I start working the stage. Like, who am I, Mick Jagger, doing that whole thing? And I start saying the most stupid things, like, all right, Florida. I have never done that. If I ever did that to any one of my audiences, seriously, they go like, really? Really? Goodbye. Like, Florida, what am I doing? Heads expanding, thinking, this is our next venue when we come back to Florida. We've got them. So I start saying all kinds of stupid crap. This is our bass player. The 45 minutes goes by, it feels like 20. We get back onto the golf carts, looking like bobbleheads. Little body, huge head. We go down, down, down to the bowels of the earth, to the dressing room. I change up and run back to the earth's surface to see Ozzy. And so I'm like, wow, I'll be playing here next year. Thank you, Ozzy, for giving me my star turn. When I get my Grammy, I'll have to thank him for showing me the way, because I'm platinum status. Did you hear him? I'm standing on stage right, your left. Ozzy is standing alone. The band is on stage. Ozzy's standing like this, like in a semi-vegetative state. And I have met him for 7 seconds 3 hours ago. Like, hey, Ozzy. Oh, hey, man. I said, right on. You know, Sabbath, thank you. He said, is there anyone out there, man? I said, what do you mean? He said, did anyone show up? I said,